going back to women in combat sports, again, getting women into the gym in the first place is the hardest part. Again, as a coach, to me, it's like pulling teeth. A lot of women will come into the gym and they'll often find themselves being the only girl in class that day. And they'll look about and they'll say like, hey, are there any other girls who ever come and train here? Have you experienced that before at all the gyms you've trained at?
Well, I mean, me personally, I've never really cared, just because I don't know, where I'm from in the States, it wasn't really jiu-jitsu wasn't really big with women anyway. And again, I had this goal in mind of what I wanted to do, so I'm just like, okay, I'm not gonna wait for girls. But I can understand like the idea of community, especially like you know, understanding someone that's going through what you're going through in terms of training, like being comfortable. Like it goes to comfort, you know, just you know, you're not gonna be comfortable with some dude. Like I'm not gonna put side in it, like if you're gonna do it, and then also you have this proximity, like again, grappling with a dude. You know, I can understand, like I used to say, I hate when people like sexualize jiu-jitsu. Yeah. You know, when they're like, oh man, like she has her like chest on me, wow, like kind of thing, which is, it's like really gross and it's not kind of thing. So I kind of understand sometimes where women don't want to be in certain situations where they feel uncomfortable in that respect. But yeah, I just think for me, what I've noticed, what keeps women there is that community aspect. When you have a girl that you could like, you know, you make jokes about it, you know, jokes about being like the only other girl, or like, you know, someone you could giggle with. Because I noticed that every time I've there's been girls in the jiu-jitsu class, even if it's only two girls, you always, you know, there's people, you hear like the grunts, like, oh man, I'm doing this, and then in the corner you just hear like girls giggling, because, you know, of course it's something funny. You're like, you know, have this thing like, oh, I don't know how to do this, what's going on here, like haha. Where as opposed with a dude, like, well, for me, again, obviously I'm gonna make it about me because I'm awesome. No, I'm just kidding.
That's why you're here. We're here to hear Jess's perspective on things.
Yeah. But I just, for me, when I roll with men, I just always feel like I have something to prove. Like, you know, not only with my strength, like, I mean, sometimes, of course, I know I'm not gonna be able to overpower some people or some men, but I'm like, no, I'm not gonna, like, one of these weak people. You're not gonna see me as weak. So I always feel like when I roll with dudes, I always have to be super serious. I can't make jokes. I always have to do the technique properly. So anytime like the beginning of a class starts and I see like, okay, I'm partnered up with a dude, I'm ultra focused on the technique. Like I'm just looking at every detail. Like sometimes if the coach is on the floor, then I'm like, you know, that idiot that's like always like, okay, he's like, okay, you're gonna grab here, and I'm just miming out everything and looking completely ridiculous. But I always want to make sure that I'm doing it properly. And also I don't want to make it as it's a disrespect to like to when I roll with women. It's more so about, like, I feel like with girls it's like, you know, it's more of an understanding, like, you know, if you watch technique and you're still as persistent with the technique, but like you kind of go with the girl, you're like, you got this, I don't know if I got this, and you kind of have more of a camaraderie and you guys laugh together kind of thing, as opposed to the dudes.
That I think that makes sense to me. I mean, as a coach, when I'm teaching my own classes, when I'm rolling with my own students, there's this pressure on me that I feel like I have to perform. I can't fail. I've got to be the best guy in the room, essentially. I mean, I don't, but I do. But on the occasions where I go and visit another gym, like this last summer I went to the States and went to a bunch of different jiu-jitsu gyms where nobody had any idea who I was. They didn't know I was an MMA fighter or a coach or any of that stuff. I could have been just anybody. And there was no pressure at all. And so I was like, it's okay if I goof up. It's okay if I ask questions. It's okay, you know. So it was a whole different dynamic. Is it anything like that, like this pressure to perform that you feel? Yeah,
it's that. And also, I wanted to add another thing that, I mean, I get it in terms of like, just go outside and bring it back in. Like, I know sometimes girls or like people go to places because they want to meet other people, and you never know, especially like MMA dudes and jiu-jitsu dudes tend to be super attractive. Like, I'm not saying like that, like I'm just saying, like, sometimes like I'm not attracted to any of my teammates, like everyone's cool, but I get it. So there's some women that come into the gym that are like, ooh, hot dudes, let's go train. So it's like kind of you don't want to be put in that kind of that bubble, like, oh, she's just here to train because she wants to like meet somebody, or like sometimes, like, I mean, hey, whatever you're comfortable in, or if you want to train in booty shorts and like you know, a slinky bra, that's, hey, whatever, what do you. But
nothing wrong with the booty shorts. I wear them all the time.
Yo. Anyway,
it makes it easier to pass guard and harder to hold on to.
Oh my god. That's
also, if you're a dude wearing the booty shorts, your opponents will tap out 17% faster to a triangle choke.
Is that Ramsey facts or is that true facts?
That's anecdotal, but we could perform some studies. I believe that statistic goes up to 100% faster if the booty shorts say juicy on the butt. I'm just speculating. Only true for dudes. I don't know if it's true for women.
Yeah, well, yeah, I haven't done any studies or any kind of test, so I'll take your word for it. But yeah, so of course, sometimes girls want to look good at the gym, and they're like, for example, like a Muay Thai class, and they're like punching, but they're like, they tend to pair it with dudes, and they're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, which is like, okay, again, I get it, I understand, but if you as a woman are grouped into this, oh, she's not taking this seriously, then it's really hard for you to perform, and it's really frustrating when you're trying to get better and you're trying to go along on your martial arts journey, your jiu-jitsu journey, whatever journey you're on, to be the best, and people don't take you seriously.
Well, that makes sense though. Like yesterday at the gym, we had this new girl come in. She's a small Chinese woman, and I always have this thought process run through my head when new women come into the gym, because, again, the more women there are in the gym, the more successful the business goes. The more women will come in when there are more women there. More men will come in to train when there are more women there. It's just a win-win for everybody. And so I always feel like really cautious, like, what am I going to teach today? I don't want to teach something that's going to scare them out immediately, because often if you throw a woman like into a mount situation and that's her first experience with mixed martial arts, often it's going to be like, is this all we do in this class? No thanks. And at the same time, you don't want to pander and like dumb it down.
Of course not.
And this girl, I learned a little bit about her. I learned she was a tennis player, actually a fairly advanced tennis player, and she had a very strong understanding of kinesthetic bodily awareness, and I ended up doing this lesson on connecting breath to movement, very much so, because I noticed this is something that tennis players in general tend to be very aware of. Like I remember the first time I watched, who was it, Serena Williams play tennis. She was always like screaming every time she hits the ball, bah, bah, just making all these sounds. And at first it was really confusing, until I learned more about martial arts and realized martial artists do the exact same thing. When we make a big explosive movement, we expel the air out in a big explosive way. And so we did a lot of serious work yesterday. Like, we got sweaty, tons of kicks and plyometric movements and punches, and she loved it, absolutely loved it, and appreciated the volume of work and effort that went into that class. But at the same time, as a coach, I'm always a little worried, like, oh man, is she going to get scared off because this is too hard? But at the same time, I've learned it's very important not to pander and dumb down the classes at all.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you definitely can't, just because if you dumb it down too much, then the people that are there that are, that more advanced are gonna be like, what? We're doing the same lame stuff we've been doing all week. I don't want to come back. Yeah. And then it's like, I don't know, just finding the balance where everyone has fun and, trying to, work with people that, or like doing an advanced move that kind of works for everyone that's been there for a while, but in a way that's like, okay, it's advanced like this, but if you do this, then it's a little bit more advanced, and then you could work up to this. So in a way, it gives people kind of a goal to work out with, like, oh, before I couldn't do a head kick, but I could do like a shin kick, and then like they kind of work their way up, and I don't know, that's
baby steps.
Yeah, exactly.
Baby steps in the right direction.